British Columbia. Free speech is something UBC is quite famous for, so much so the goddess of democracy stands at the heart of the campus. Last Tuesday, anti-abortionists on campus set up an information campaign in front of her. Students for Life have a controversial message. They use pictures of aborted fetuses and liken abortion to the Holocaust and the lynching of black people in the southern United States. And many UBC students found the display offensive, and after about 3 hours, they tore it down. Now, the demonstration comes about 2 months after Students for Life were told they could mount a larger campaign, but only if they posted a $10,000 bond to cover the extra cost of security related to the display. Civil libertarians have said that amounts to censorship. And all this on the campus where in 1997 students made international headlines for defending free speech at the APEC Summit. So joining us now is UBC student Stephanie Gray, a member of the pro-life group that set up the display on campus last week. Also joining us, Nathan Allen of the Alma Mater Society, or the student government. And Nathan, I'll start with you. Obviously, freedom of expression a mainstay at UBC. And I wonder where the student council stands then on the recent trashing of the display.
Well, in terms of the trashing of the display, we don't really have a stand. In terms of the Genocide Awareness Project coming to campus, our council passed a policy that we condemn the tactics of the Genocide Awareness Project, claiming that they're offensive to our membership, exploiting the Holocaust, exploiting lynchings in the states by the KKK, respecting our membership who subscribe to that constituency, and also to protect the women on campus, which are the majority of people who, in many cases, and who have expressed concerns to the student society, that they feel harassed by those messages and feel emotionally enraged.
So why would you not take a stand on the acting out of a display? Because as it is taken in a context of free speech, do you not have a feeling one way or another whether that was the right thing to do?
Well, students on campus are free to do as they choose. Posters are ripped down in other parts of campus all the time, and we don't take a stand on every instance. Our stand was a political one against the tactics of the Genocide Awareness Project and those images displayed.
Stephanie, obviously, I'll assume that the campaign is used because it is sort of it sure draws your attention, and I guess that's what you wanted to do, was draw attention. Do you think then that people might have been acting out against the pictures and the style as opposed to the message itself, your pro-life message? Do you think if you'd used less controversial images and comparisons, it might not have happened?
That's hard to say. I know that there is definitely, there's people who agree with pro-life and who don't agree with that opinion, which is fine. But I guess there's instances we could have had another display and people still may have chosen to take it down because they don't like what we have to say. And while we respect that there are various opinions and there are people who hold different viewpoints, that's fine. And for 3 to 4 hours, we had students come up and share their viewpoint with us. But our concern is that people resorted to violence instead of communication, instead of dialogue. And they took away our free speech in a very violent and unjust manner.
Why would your organization have chosen such controversial comparisons as lynching of black people and the Holocaust and that sort of thing if you did want to create a dialogue? It seems sort of a heavy-handed approach.
We choose pictures and we choose the comparison because people do not recognize present genocide as such, because we permit it in our society, we commit it. It's easy to look back in the past and see past forms of genocide and say they're genocide because we weren't there, and we look back and we see it as wrong, but when it's happening present day, we don't recognize that. And people don't want to talk about abortion either. That's another thing in our society. We had an open forum about abortion, and very few people, compared to the number of seats in the lecture hall, came because it's a not talked about issue. We want to create dialogue about this issue, and we feel pictures are a very powerful means because we're a society that thinks and learns visually. And dialogue is created. Besides the 3 students who came up and destroyed the display at around 11:30, we had the dialogue there and it could have continued.
One more point then for Nathan. To wrap this up, what about your stand, your personal stand as a human being with regard to freedom of speech? Do you think that the trashing of the display stomped on their right to free speech?
No, I don't. Not speaking on behalf of the Student Society, but so many complaints received at the Equity Office. So many women complained to me crying that they were harassed by these images. And the Genocide Awareness Project was allowed to come to campus. When they were planning to come last month, the Student Society set up a support center with the Equity Office, with the Women's Students Office, with our Student Peer Support Center to deal with these cases. We had an alternative information fair on the issue. This tactic of of coming unannounced without any kind of organizing around to support our membership in the issue. I thought that tactic was unfortunate. If one woman didn't face the emotional turmoil because of this, I thought the prevention from people seeing this was worth it.
Sorry, we are out of town. I'm sure I can see you want to retaliate on the tip of your tongue. I'm sorry about that, Stephanie. Coming up next.